Okay, this is the second video in the elevation and roof plan series, and we're going to deal with the roof plan now. You can see that I've gone and completed the two elevations for this sample floor plan, and then now we're going to go over the roof. This may take a couple videos. Here's the concept. You are going to design the top or the bird's eye view of the roof pretty much first, and then you bring everything down and transfer it to the elevations. And there'll be a lot of concepts here that I'm going to go over. And there's a little bit of math, but mostly we can just do sketching. So you don't really need to know too many numbers, but just how everything how everything matches up is fine. I'm going to go to graph paper, then math is a little bit more important. What you want to do is you find the largest square or rectangle, preferably rectangle, in your house, in your bird's eye view of the floor plan, and you put a rectangle inside that area. And you'll want to do it lightly because you're going to delete this later on. It's just to give you a point of reference. You're going to divide that in half going long ways. That is going to be the main peak that runs through your house. That's going to be the main peak. Now right now it just looks like two rectangles. I understand that. But here's a concept you really need to get, is that when this line is perpendicular to the elevation, you will see a peak. So let me draw that on. When this line is perpendicular to the elevation, you will see a peak. Now you might be thinking, why is he just arbitrarily drawing a triangle that stops on this elevation? Because we're going to go back to my red line. That peak stops right there. So same thing here. This peak is on the edge of the roof, and it should stop right at that line. I'm a little off, but you get the picture. It's not going to cover the entire roof. Same thing here. It goes to this peak, which was that line there, or this corner here. I'll draw the red line on. It should go down, pretty much match up right there. Now on the elevations that are running parallel to the line, you're going to see a rectangle. So it's going to be harder to tell that it's a roof. It's going to look like a rectangle, especially if it's new to you. But again, the extent of it, I'll make it a little taller to match these. The extent of it is transferred down to the roof. So it doesn't go beyond into this other side on the right. And then we'll put this on the back elevation as well. And we're going to do this in chunks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 more chunks to cover. First, we're going to start with the front here. I have two sections. I have this rectangle and I have this rectangle. I'm going to choose a different color just so you can see the differences. And I'm going to make a rectangle right here. And then we'll make one here in pink. So I need to cover these two areas with two distinct roof plans, two distinct roofs, if you will. I'm going to take those out. They're going to get in the way. I'm also going to take out this green line. I no longer need that. That's just used to reference my other roof. I'll take it out there eventually too in the back. But I can't just put, we're going to go back with blue, I can't just put another line crisscrossing this way, because then the water's going to sit in the middle. And I can't just put another line like this and leave it there too. There needs to be more to it. So what you do is you divide this section in half, just like we divided this in half. So I divide this in half, and I'm just going to pick a point that looks to be about half, and I cut it back. And in this case, I'm going to bring it all the way back to the other peak. Okay, hopefully this will make sense when it's completed, but right now you're thinking, why is there just a random line? I'm going to draw what's called a valley on both sides, and they're going to be equal. So if I were to connect those, you see they'd be equal, but that you don't draw that line. That was just for example. And then I'm going to take this line and bring it across there. Now we talked about whenever the line is perpendicular to the elevation, excuse me, you will see a peak. So we're going to bring this peak up on the front elevation. Whenever the line is parallel, you will see what looks to be like a rectangle. So this is parallel. And that would be how you transfer that one down. So now I still have this front corner. And I believe we went with purple, so we'll go purple again. This is not as wide. This distance here is not as wide as the entire blue roof. So what we do is we cut this in half. And since we're already perpendicular to this roof, all we do is we add on to the other roof that's already in existence. So you can see I'm going to put this pink line next to the blue. So that one's a little bit closer to us, but it's also smaller. It's going to share the same plane. It's going to share the same plane as this blue roof. Therefore, that one's going to go away. There's no line dividing these planes. See how they're equal going this way? So you have this peak, this purple pink, and then it peak, and then it cuts back. So how would that look over here on the sides? Well, it's going to be lower. It's not going to be as high. So it just looks like a rectangle that's a little bit lower. And when we go to graph paper, we'll actually measure that out, and I'll show you where that height is. So I'm going to stop for this video, and we'll deal with these two other sections in the next video.